Hello everybody, this is Yasmeen from Yarkspiri fantasyart.com and welcome to another video tutorial. So for this week's video tutorial, you guys voted and you guys chose the magical card game on water. So this was actually a request that was done by originally one of you guys, subscribed to my channel, and this request had some very specific elements that needed to be included. So in the background there needed to be an island. The characters involved in this card game needed to be a water elemental who's part of the water itself, an octopus who's acting as the dealer for the game, and a magician whose design elements are based off the royal clowns that could be seen in royal court. So I based the clown slash royal jester elements off actual reference material that I could find based on those elements. Obviously I added some of my own elements to this after to make this painting more appealing. Now in the initial sketch that you see me actually doing, I started off with the octopus in the foreground. However, I had to change everything around just to make more appealing design and also stage the characters more appropriately. This was necessary for quite a few reasons because I did want to show more of the octopus. That, and also the request did specify very specific locations as well for the characters. So because of all these requirements, I was continually referring to the request elements that I had been given. With that, I was using also reference materials on a continual basis just to make sure that everything worked together. So I was looking at a lot of reference material on water reflections, sunsets, because I was given a very specific time of day that the sun had to be located in this painting. So all of those elements had to be included. Something like this does take quite a bit of time to think through to figure out just how far I'm going to take some of those elements and see where I'm going to have more flexibility. So normally what I do is I'll go in and I'll just identify some of the elements that I want to definitely include, what are more critical for the overall painting. In this case though, because I didn't have as much time when I was working on this painting, I didn't have that luxury to go in and dissect everything. So I had the request and I copied and pasted all the information I could get out of it in a simple notepad document that I kept open as I worked on a separate computer monitor. So you won't actually see the information that I had, but I was continually referring to that information to make sure I had as many elements as I could and that the elements were consistent with what was actually requested by you guys. So as you can see right now, I am working on the octopus. For the majority of the beginning stages I was using my flat brush that I had customized a while back, but between that I was using a more textured brush that I have been using more recently to add some of the information and details. Now for the clown, because I already have the yellows that I wanted to from essentially the time of day, it was important that I go in afterwards and add some more reddish tones. So I played with the saturation a little bit to get some more red tones in there. Now since the character needed to be floating above the water, I needed to show that he was actually floating, and the best way to do this was to add a shadow beneath the character to really help showcase this. Now you will see me paint over that shadow later on as I'm adding the reflection, and I'll actually add some essentially magical elements to help explain how he's floating, so that it seems more like he's floating rather than just suspended in midair. So I'm just working on his foot gear. He's cross-legged, but he's very relaxed, and I did want to show this in this painting, is that doing this does not require very much energy of him. For him it's very natural. The same way that the water elemental finds it very natural just to essentially remain part of the water and use it as a method to keep her suspended more comfortably as well. So both these two characters are fairly relaxed. They're not there to compete in this card game, they're more just hanging out and just enjoying each other's company. So I'm just adding some of the detail elements right now for the table. This table, I had to add the perspective line so I could figure out the proper ellipse shape. Ellipses can be difficult if you don't know how to properly align them on the floor grid, which is why you saw me use the polygon tool to actually create a floor grid so that I had an idea of how to do the proper ellipse for this. Just add in some of the water elements. Drawing in the octopus now, because right now it's just a floating head and I can't just keep a floating head there. I have to add some more elements. I have to really emphasize that he is an octopus, so I'm just painting that in now. Working on the structure of the head and the reflections that would be seen. And just bumping up some of the details. This entire painting took about 4 hours to complete, so it didn't take too long, which is good. Some of the more difficult elements, though, required a lot of forethought before I could actually approach them. I left the water for the end, mainly because I wasn't sure how I was going to initially paint it. I was looking at reference material on and off as I was painting the actual characters, and then I went in afterwards and decided, okay, this is how I'm going to actually paint this water. I'm going to show a lot of yellows and a lot of reflections based off the sun, and I'm going to use that to my advantage to really help showcase this. Now, what I ended up having to do as well, though, is because the waters were supposed to be extremely calm, I needed to make sure that the characters fit with the water elements, so I had to use a textured brush on the water as well to help tie in both the characters and the water together. Otherwise the characters look too separated from the water, and it doesn't work because it just doesn't work together as a whole. Just adding some finalized details to that octopus head. And this is the final image. As you can see, I added some glowing effects to both the water elemental and the wizard to help showcase the reason and how he's actually able to suspend himself above the water. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video tutorial, and I hope to see you guys soon. So thank you and take care.